Welcome to the Great Food, Great Stories podcast on Portland Culinary Radio. I'm Stephen Sharma, your host. I am delighted. Joining me today is someone I consider to be a local Portland legend, Judy Bennett. Good morning, Judy. How are you?
I'm just fine. I'm so happy to be here. I've been a big fan for a long time.
Well, thank you. I love culinary startups. I love startups. I love food. So hence I love culinary startups. To me, it's a no-brainer. But you've done two really incredible things in mine. One, you wrote a book, and both of us being authors, we know how hard it is to write a book.
Oh, yes.
And so your book you wrote is Bloody Marys, Sanguine Solutions for a Slew of Situations, which I love, and we'll talk about the book in a second. And then you are the founder of Portland Bloody Mary Mix.
Yes.
Which is a real, live, beautiful thing. That's the thing we're actually going to talk about.
Okay.
But as far as your journey, tell me did you move to Portland? Were born here? Tell me your Portland journey first.
I was born in Portland a great number of years ago.
And you've just been here your whole life?
I've been here my whole life with two exceptions. I moved to California. I married a sailor in my misspent youth, and we moved to California for 4 years and then came back. My kids were tiny at the time, so we came back to be near Grandma. And another time I was in college in Walla Walla, Washington, so I was gone for another set of 4 years.
Which one, Whitman?
Whitman, yeah.
All right. That's funny. Okay, so you have a really cool story. The part of your story we're telling today is the Bloody Mary Mix story, but it starts with this book. So 2008 is when your book came out, right?
That's when I started writing it.
Okay. And when did it come out?
It came out in 2011.
2011. Okay, so why the heck did you decide to write a book?
Well, let's see. 2008 was when, the big economic collapse was going on. And so I was doing a lot of day drinking then, and I'm sure everyone else was too. It was a dark time in America. And so I was drinking a lot of Bloody Marys, and I noticed that everywhere I went, they were different. And even in the same bar, they were different on Tuesday than they were on Saturday. And I thought, now, number one, why? And number two, how many ways are there to make Bloody Marys? I became fascinated by that because a lemon drop's just a lemon drop and a Chardonnay's just a Chardonnay, but Bloody Marys are not the same animal anywhere you go. So I got so much joy out of just creating little scenarios in my mind about, well, this Bloody Mary's, gritty and dirty, and this one's clean and spicy, and they started reminding me of people I knew, like, Steve, the girl, the prom queen who's too pretty to dance with, but she's really, kind of a closet loser. And so she goes home alone and cries herself to sleep because no one will dance with her because she's too beautiful. There are Bloody Marys like that. And so it was just, maybe way too much day drinking. But anyway, the stories became really fun, and I thought this ought to be a book. And I was just cheeky enough to go, well, how hard could that be to write a book? There's gazillions of books in the world. But that's what I thought when I started having children, like, how hard can it be? And, oh, God.
But you wrote it, and it got
the things
published.
You learn. Yes, I had babies, and I wrote a book, and it's been hard.
Well, and I love that you have a cool domain for your book, bloodymarybook.com.
Yeah, it's the only one, literally.
You wrote the book on Bloody Marys. I love that. And in your recipe, I love some of these titles, like Go Packers, even though I lived in Minnesota for 3 years and like the Vikings. My friend Sarah, who founded Cerveza, which is a phenomenal Portland beer bar.
Love it.
That's a Packers bar, reminds me of her. This one, I know we just met, but I want to have your baby.
We're going to be drinking that recipe a little later.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's fantastic. That's page 54. Okay, you're right. Yes, we are. When I win the lottery, I'm quitting. I love quitting this crappy job. I just love the names of your Bloody Marys.
Thanks.
And so how many different recipes are in the book?
45.
45. Okay. And then, so this led to the next step in your Bloody Mary journey.
Yes.
Which I consider step 2. So step 3 probably. Step 1 was loving them. Step 2 is the book. Step 3 is the company.
That's right.
Okay, so tell me when did you first get the idea, the glimmer of an idea to start a company doing Bloody Mary Mix?
I was out with some people who knew my book and know my husband very well. They were colleagues of my husband's, and so I was invited along to go to happy hour. And as the drinking progressed, some guy turned to me and said, "You know what?" He said, "Portland is crazy about Bloody Marys, but Portland has Portland ale, Portland ketchup, Portland vinegar, Portland everything except its own Bloody Mary mix. And Judy, really, who knows Bloody Marys better than you do? You have to bring a bottled Bloody Mary mix into the city, into the world. And I thought, yeah, right, except for all the things I don't know, like food production and shelf stability and USDA guidelines and, 10,000 other things. I don't know how to do that, but I could not shake the idea. I went home going, he's right. No one else is going to do this because it would have been done already. And I have to figure this out.
So that summer of 2014, and you were aware of all the things you didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
But there's lots of people, when they get the idea for a culinary startup or any startup, the awareness of all the things they don't know stops them. And then they never learn those things. So
It's really daunting.
Because some of those things you don't learn until you move ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did you? So in my head, I always go, when did you get the domain? Did you get the domain? So the domain is PortlandBloodyMaryMix.com. So tell me about that.
Well, so as I thought more about this, I thought, well, it should be something cheeky and silly, like like the name of my book is alliterative, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll call it Miss Judy's Rose City Remedy. And then I met you. I don't know if you remember, but you and I were at happy hour with some friends, and I'd never met you before, and I was telling you about my idea, and you said, you pulled out your phone and you said, do you remember this?
Vaguely, because you had two different names, Judy's Rose City Remedy or Portland Bloody Mary Mix.
I don't think that one had occurred to me yet, but you piped up and said, people are not going to get the connection unless you be very direct about it. Just call it Portland Bloody Mary Mix, and if you don't buy that domain right now, I'm going to, because it's a gold mine. And you pulled out your phone and pulled up GoDaddy on your phone, and I said, whoa, wait, I'll do it. I promise I'll do it. And I did. I went home that night and did it.
That's phenomenal. So this
is your fault.
So that's fall, because it's a great name. Because as kitschy and fun as Judy's Rosemary Remedy, doesn't tell me it's a Bloody Mary mix.
Right, because you know what? I ran into a lot of legal trouble with researching that name because it belongs to a marijuana dispensary in Portland. So there already is a Rose City Remedy, and it's not Bloody Mary's.
But Portland Bloody Mary Mix, I don't even need to ask you what it is.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than a product you have to over-explain. Portland Bloody Mary Mix, I get it immediately. Plus, the label is fantastic. Okay,
I love
so
the label.
You get the idea. Summer of 14 is the idea. You can't shake it. We meet fall of 2014, and you come up with the cool name. And then what's the next step? How long between that step and the next major step?
Oh, wow. It's all kind of a blur now. But first of all, I had to decide what recipe to bottle, because I know at least 45 recipes for Bloody Marys. So I thought, what one is enough of a standout to put in a bottle forever and ever? And I really struggled with that. The one on page 40 keeps winning awards, People's Choice here and Bite of Oregon and, all these local contests. That's what Portlanders consider to be the most delicious, but there's avocado in it, and there's things that won't do well in a bottle. So I thought, I can't do that one. So what am I going to do? So I thought, okay, so what do Portlanders look for in their Bloody Mary mix? So there's, the kind of bacon, artisanal, foodie kind of way, or there's the real clean, sustainable, vegan, gluten-free, organic sort of way. And I thought the way that I want to go is I really want to have a product that's healthy, that's natural, because you see so many Bloody Mary mixes with corn syrup and caramel color and terrible things in it. I would never do that. So whichever way I decided to go, it was not going to have those things in it. And so the recipe that I came up with required me to find Worcestershire sauce that was vegan. That is not easy to do. So I spent a lot of time doing that. I even tried to make my own. So I spent, almost probably a year just on recipe development. And I finally gave up. It was too difficult to learn all the things I had to learn about pasteurization and pH and all the things. So I partnered with a co-packer to help me develop the recipe.
Now, when did you get the idea of a co-packer? Was that summer of 15?
I think so.
Okay, so you got the idea for the company summer of 14. You got the name finally in fall of 14. You start messing with recipe stuff, but then summer of 15, you figure out about a co-packer who will help you with some of the kitchen science stuff.
Right, exactly.
Because you didn't know the kitchen science stuff.
Oh, not at all.
But you didn't let I've never let my ignorance stop me. I didn't know how to do half the thing. I still don't know half the things I do, but you just moved ahead, right? How important was it to keep going, you think, and not giving up? How big a deal was that?
Well, by summer of 15, I had given up. I'd given up a number of times, but this was the time I thought, this is too much work. I can't do it. And I came across the idea for working with a co-packer to help me through, what happens to the tomatoes when you boil them and you don't add citric acid, because I didn't want any chemicals or, artificial ingredients citric acid isn't artificial, but ingredients that aren't food, I didn't want in there. So I had the co-packer who does this for a living. I had him work with me on what happens to horseradish when you boil it. What am I doing wrong?
So you spent about a year on recipe development with the co-packer.
Yes.
And also during that year, you did brand development, labels, bottles, what bottles you're going to put in, all that stuff, right?
I didn't start that yet because I just didn't think it was gonna work. I didn't think I'd be able to learn enough by then.
But you did it between summer 15 and summer 16. That year was some of that stuff that you did?
No, I pretty much had a product in my hand and then I went, oh crap, I got to get labels now.
So when did you get the labels? The labels are beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I worked with a terrific designer here in Portland.
Okay, so when were the labels designed, roughly?
The labels were designed in probably the late summer of this year.
Okay, and then how about how hard or easy was it to get? Because I'm thinking if I was going to start a company doing this, I don't know where to get bottles. How hard was it to? Because the bottle itself, the shape, the size of the bottle looks cool. How hard was that?
The co-packer came up with those. He said, I have these. They're real standard. And I said, standard works.
And it looks sharp. It looks very sharp. I love the label. Okay, so you're right. My Bloody Mary knowledge, I am not the expert on Bloody Marys like you are, but my knowledge is pretty limited, but I've had some. And usually you get kind of a more standard one, or you get one where there's a salad in it, or you get one where there's a charcuterie plate in it.
Now, don't be fooled by the toppings. The garnish is usually there to disguise a mediocre Bloody Mary. The mix itself is substandard, and so they put a lot of foo-foo on top just to fool you.
No, I like the ones where they put like a strip of bacon on the top. But again, your Bloody Mary mix, it's good for everybody. It's right on the label: vegan, gluten-free, kosher, non-GMO, reduced sodium. So if I want to stick some bacon in there, I can. But if I'm vegan, I don't have. I'm good.
Right, you can. Or this mix is thick enough you could marinate shrimp in it. You could. I love it on my tater tots. You can do anything with it.
Now that is very funny. Okay, so when did you get the first actual bottle that I'm holding now with this cool label?
September, just 4 months ago.
Just 4 months ago. Okay, so it's kind of fascinating. We're here at Culmination. We record the Great Food, Great Stories podcast at Culmination. And Tomas, at the 1 year anniversary, everyone was all excited. Congratulations on 1 year. But for him, it felt like 6 or 7 years.
So true.
Because he'd been building the company before it existed in one sense. And you'd been building the company, you've been working on it in your head, putting emotional energy into it, breathing life into it since summer of 14.
Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you. So the Oregon food science people said, okay, this is a great mix. Now go home and pasteurize it. I said, what does that mean? They said, well, you have to boil it. You have to cook it at 185 degrees for 10 minutes, and then that'll make it shelf stable. But be sure every time you take the lid off, steam will escape, so you have to put in that many grams of water so it stays the same ratio of water to whatever. And my head exploded at that point. So I went home and I covered the thing with foil, and I boiled it on the stove, and I was crying like, this is too hard. I'll never get this right.
But 2 years later...
2 years later, I know. Look
You
at me
did.
go. I'm an overnight success 2 years later.
Exactly. But people don't realize that's what it is with a startup. With any startup, it takes a while to put it together.
Absolutely.
But not just 2 years overnight success, but weren't you just on TV just last week?
I was on Afternoon Live on Channel 2 on Monday.
How awesome is that?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Did you ever think that would happen summer of 14?
No way.
Yeah. And here's what I know. You're just getting started.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it seems to be this rabbit hole of Bloody Mary awesomeness in Portland. People are just so receptive. It's amazing.
So now, if people want to buy your stuff, are you with the distributor? Where can I go to get it?
I am in most liquor stores by now. My distributor, it was funny. When I hired him, it's. Can I say who it is?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. We love I love distributors.
Okay. It's Casey Thomas at Lucky 7 down in Canby. He's amazing. But on the phone, he said, "Now, Judy, you have to know, I'm just your delivery service. I'm not your marketing department. I'm not your PR guy. You have to go and make friends with the liquor stores and establish relationships, and then just tell me where to drop off the cases." And I said, okay. So I walked around with a case of Bloody Mary mix in my car, and I would just walk in without an appointment and just walk in with the bottle and stick out my hand and say, "Hey, I'm Judy. Can I see your manager?" And so I made relationships with, I don't know, 5, maybe 6 liquor stores in town that were in. They wanted the product. They loved it. And so I emailed Casey and I said, here are the liquor stores that want the product. Can you take care of this week? And he said, "Yep, I'm on it." And 2 weeks later, he got back to me and said, "Wow, demand is really huge in Medford and Corvallis and Rockaway and Hood River." And I went, "What? What do they care about Portland Bloody Mary mix?" And so he's so excited about the product. He's just singing its praises all over the place. And he's not technically supposed to do that or expected to do that, but he loves it.
And it's selling. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. I can't wait till you're across the country.
And in February, I'm starting in Made in Oregon, in all 9 stores in Made in Oregon. And I'm working on some other things as well. Oh, I'm down at the Mac Club. If anyone's a Mac Club member, stop by there.
That's phenomenal. I'm so excited for your success, and there's going to be more. So you've got T-shirts.
I do.
So the next thing I want cool glasses, a Bloody Mary glass with this beautiful label, kind of, I don't know if that design stuff, but like screen printed on it or whatever they do on the glass. Mm-hmm. So I could have my official Portland Bloody Mary glass with my official Portland Bloody Mary mix.
Oh, that would be so cute.
That's phenomenal. All right, so I'm going to taste these. So what's this first one that I'm drinking here?
This one is just a plain old school Bloody Mary like your grandma would make. Except it's spicy. Are you okay with spicy?
I am, yes.
Okay, good.
Well, I'm a bit of a wimp, actually. So my friend Aaron Wakamatsu is the spiceicist. So he likes to drink like ghost pepper sauce. He's crazy. So
wow.
Too much spice is too much for me. So this is spicy, but I don't need a glass of water.
Good.
My mouth is not on fire, but it's got heat. It's got flavor. But I want another drink.
I love it.
It's like, okay, this is really good, and yes, this is hot, but I want another one. So peeps, chili heads, they probably need to spice it up from this, but us normal people, this is fantastic.
Oh, good. So that is Portland vodka and Portland Bloody Mary mix.
And Portland vodka, local distillery from?
Yep, from New Deal.
I love New Deal. They do a great job.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is really, really good. Where's my scrambled eggs and hash browns?
See, and you don't need a bunch of, shrimp and bacon and everything stuck in there because it's delicious on its own.
Okay, and then what's this next one?
The next one I have was created by a friend of mine. She served it at my launch party. And this is a version of the Dark and Stormy. Because at my launch party, September 15th, there was a hurricane and people had no power and trees fell on their house, but they came out to my launch party, which was, I was so grateful for that. So this is Bloody Mary mix and ginger rum from Eastside Distilling and a little float of Jägermeister on top.
So, I have to be honest. I've had a Dark and Stormy where they put ginger beer and rum.
Yeah.
And so Bloody Mary mix and ginger rum, it sounds odd as all heck to me. Mm-hmm. So I was a little hesitant to taste it, but dang, this is good.
I know. Portland Bloody Mary mix works with everything. Beer, tequila, aquavit, rum, beer.
So speak of that, Tuesday night or Wednesday night, I was at Lardo. It's Aquavit Week. Today's the end of Aquavit Week. Mm-hmm. My friend Jacob Greer does Aquavit Week. He was actually an earlier Great Stories podcast guest. I love him. He's an amazing author and a fantastic guy. And he does Aquavit Week. And so I had an Aquavit, a Viking Mary, a Viking Bloody they called it, at Lardo.
Terrific.
And it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I thought it was weird as all get out, but I trust Jacob, so we put Aquavit in everything. So you should contact Jacob, and you should have Portland Bloody Mix be part of Aquavit Week next year.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, because you could be there, Broder Nord at the opening party, and one of the cocktails could be a Viking Bloody Mary with your Bloody Mary mix.
Now, were you the only one drinking these, or did other people suspend their disbelief and try them?
They've sold a whole bunch of them, and they also did at Lardo. They did a beef on weck sandwich, which is a lot of caraway and just phenomenal. So lots and lots of places did great stuff for. I had a aquavit cocktail at La Mule, a lot of different places, but I love Lardo. It's just it's phenomenal. Okay, so what's this last one? This one scares me. This is the one I just met you and I want to have your baby from your right.
I made this one on Channel 2 on live TV, and I made her drink it, and she said it looks like a sauce. I said, well, just hang in there. So this is Portland Bloody Mary mix. Are you ready?
Yep.
And Bailey's Irish Cream.
Is that even legal?
No one thinks that is a thing. My husband, who has been with me through this entire journey since 2008, and he knew this was in the book, and he has never tried it because he's scared too. I made him try it when I was getting ready to go on TV last week, and I made him try it. He fell on the floor giggling. He said, nothing should be this good.
Okay, so tell me again what I'm about to drink because I'm having a hard time getting my mind around it.
Portland Bloody Mary mix. And Bailey's Irish Cream.
Yeah, because I always think of that. You know, who wants to put coffee with their Bailey Irish Cream? Yeah, let's put Bloody Mary mix.
And I don't know how. I don't know how chocolate notes come out of that and orange creamsicle. Like, it's a Christmas miracle. But are you getting that?
Yeah, you know what? A, I love it, and it's weird as all get it. But B, I want to make like a sauce and put it on, chicken or pasta.
Oh, yeah.
I could put this on some pasta. That would be phenomenal.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This would be great on pasta. I love it. My goodness, you are. So you are like a culinary genius.
And just for the record, I don't want to have your babies.
Okay. All right.
You can have my Bloody Marys.
Okay. Yeah. I'm done with kids. They're good. I had mine. I don't want any more.
Me too.
All right. And so now the development of your brand. So is Portland Bloody Marys on Facebook?
It is. Yes.
Twitter?
Yes.
Instagram?
Yes.
Woo! You get an A. That's fantastic. And did you know Facebook, Twitter, Instagram when you started?
I did. I dabbled in it for the book because, book marketing never goes away.
Yep.
No matter how old the book is. That was something else I didn't know when I started to write. So I dabbled in that stuff, and I dabbled with some blogging. Can I say blogging? And I'm terrible at it. Because I still have a day job. I'm a busy girl, and so I can't keep all the social media balls in the air, but I do what I can.
Yeah, just give me a post a week on each platform. Give me a Facebook post a week, a tweet a week, and an Instagram post a week.
That's it?
More is good. That's bonus, but at least do that, then you keep every platform alive.
Mm-hmm. I try and do every day.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay, that's good. So, and my experience has been you'll find a platform where your fans are.
Yeah.
But then don't neglect the other ones. I was at Holiday Ale Fest. I got to volunteer and pour, and I had people come up to me and said, "Oh, I know you. I follow you on Twitter." And I didn't quite hear it. And I said, "Oh, well, send me your friend request on Facebook." "No, I'm just on Twitter." So I have fans that are just on Twitter or just on Instagram or just on Facebook. So even though one of those platforms tends to be the most productive for me, I don't neglect the other two because I have fans that are just on that platform.
No, I set it all up at the beginning of the month. I schedule the whole month, and then it's one and done.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so step one was you came up with the idea. Mm-hmm. Step two, you got the name.
Yes.
Step three, you got the company and the finished product.
Yes.
Okay, and now the next step, first you had the book, actually. You had the love of Bloody Marys.
Right.
Then the book, then the company. I think you should start a website and become like a Bloody Mary or a food writer writing about Bloody Marys. And
I might as well.
Yeah, every time you day drink, just, if you get that together, then we'll have you back on and talk about that. Because then you can have a platform to write about Bloody Marys and tell me all the cool ones you find, and I think that would be phenomenal.
All right, terrific.
Well, Judy, it has been a delight to have you on the Great Food, Great Stories podcast. It has been a joy to me to follow your journey from meeting you a couple years ago and saying, "Man, you got to do that. You got to do that."
Yeah.
And now I'm actually holding the bottle of a name that I came up with, and that's such an amazing thing.
You're like a proud papa.
I do, and I love to help people battle for the dream and stuff come true, and this is just phenomenal. So I wish you all the success in the world, and anything I do to help you get there, we will.
Thank you.
And I'm going to bug Jacob. You got to have this for Aquavit next year.
Yes.
That would be fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
This is the Great Food, Great Stories podcast on Portland Culinary Radio. I'm Stephen Shelmy, your host. Cheers, everyone.